So one other thing is that these politicians that were against the war at that time, did they have a bigger, basically, like, were they a big part of this movement?
Well, at this rally, you had a U.S. Senator named Vance Harkey who spoke side by side with these radicals, and I would actually say what really happened in the anti-war movement. You heard George McGovern? George McGovern, he was okay. So you had LBJ, of course, pursues the war.
Yeah.
And then at the Democratic Party convention in 1968, which you'll be seeing some things about in the movie.
Okay.
His vice president, Hubert Humphrey, who was a very long-standing liberal, in fact, known as being, one of the most liberal people in the Democratic Party. Big supporter of civil rights, you name it, but also very much an opponent of communism in the Soviet Union. So Hubert Humphrey is chosen as the presidential candidate, and although he's very much of a liberal, he's for things that, by domestic terms these days would be seen as very radical indeed. I'm a high school student, I actually was a supporter of Humphrey before I became radicalized. But anyway, but he was a supporter of the war in Vietnam. So as you'll see in the movie, actually, a lot of the radicals got very, very disappointed. So in 1972, the liberal wing of the Democratic Party, the opponents of the Vietnam War, took over the Democratic Party. And they won in the primaries, and George McGovern, senator from South Dakota, was the Democratic Party's candidate against Richard Nixon. And he was very much an anti-war candidate.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the people in the anti-war movement kind of flowed into the George McGovern campaign. And in a certain sense, I say that's what happened to the anti-war movement.
Yeah.